Bwana. I am a counseling psychologist by profession. I'm also a pastor, and I'm a co-founder, co-director, code group. Yeah.
My name is Bwana, graphic designer by profession. I'm a pastor, love teaching the word, and I'm also a founder of Code Group. It's an agency that deals with brand development.
Yeah. How did we meet?
Good question.
It's interesting because I was just in a season where I was shifting churches, and I went into this church. It was my first time, and I saw him coming in during the service. Like, I was focusing, like, he came in late. He needs to explain why he came in late. But he came in late, and I saw him coming at the corner of my eye. I saw him coming, and I was like, I like the style. I like how he looks. I like the working style. And that was it. That's all that I noticed about him. But we didn't interact for quite a while, because I think that was somewhere in August, at the beginning of August.
Yeah.
But we didn't interact much until the end of the year, somewhere in November.
Somewhere around mid-November, yes.
And so our pastor set us up to act up a role in church. And so in the role that we were playing, he was the man, and I was the lady who was supposed to be enticing the man. And we were the main characters of the whole set. Yeah. And so in the skit, I am seducing him. Right? And so I'm seducing him. And, that's the first time I was up close, and now that is when we started interacting after that. And then it's interesting because after that, I think I lost a very dear friend of mine, and which was immediately after this that we finished the set, and then I lost a dear friend, and then he actually came through. Turns out he worked just next door where I was living, and I didn't know. I didn't know that. And so he would come from work and just come and encourage me in that season. And that's when we just started a beautiful friendship.
Yeah. I remember that day, so for me, the first time I was seeing her, so I came in late, and I think that day I didn't notice her. I think the next Sunday is when, I noticed new faces, and I'm like, okay, wow. I used to come in late. That particular Sunday, by the time I was going up the stairs, and then I noticed new faces, and then the first point that we had a conversation, we normally used to take coffee or some tea and some samosas after church. And so I remember that day, then after service is when I spotted someone speaking. I don't know, you had your friends.
Yeah.
So they'd come like a family, but I was like, wow, okay, I've noticed someone. Of course, I wasn't in a rush, because I think it was a season where I really just wanted to focus on building myself, which mostly, most men rarely do that. You'll be out of a situation and jump into something else immediately. But I was at a place where I was like, no, I just want to focus. Let me build me, let me make myself. I don't want to be in a hurry, but I've spotted someone. Yeah. And that's it. Then I think what happened is we had a conversation. There's a friend of mine who also, were very close, and at that time they were talking, and it's the first point that we now had a conversation. So it was the first day meet, then the first day conversation, and it was about what I do, and it's like you guys wanted a service.
Yes, I wanted a service.
Yes, so that's how we ended up, first or the initial stages of our introduction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, getting to know him. It was an interesting journey, because immediately after I lost that friend, I traveled out of the country. And then when I came back is when now we actually just started knowing one another. He was always there in that season. He stood with me. But then, of course, you hang out with someone, you start noticing things about them. But then what was interesting is I think he got to a place where he just felt like, I'm done playing games. I'm done doing jokes with girls here and there. And so he made it very clear to me one day. He actually just told me, hey, by the way, I want a wife, and I see that in you. Are we doing this or not? And I was just like, sir, I beg. It's not how it goes, right? And so it was a journey where, for me, because I felt like, first of all, I was in another relationship. And I just felt like this guy is coming up too close, and I needed to tell him upfront, this will not work. And so I did mention to him, I told him, I have someone and this will not work. And he said, okay. He actually did say, okay, but he stayed on. He would show up when I needed something, and when there was a time my mom was sick, he would show up and come and see my mom. Of course, we were in church together, so we used to do a lot of prayer meetings. He would show up. When the worship team would be meeting, he would show up. But then we just started actually hanging out a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. And in that process, we realized we had so much in common.
There's something you mentioned, I think that part was very key on the skit part.
Yeah.
I think now the moment that I started noticing her deeper was during that skit, because we were set to have very conversations, and we were meant to feel each other. And I remember that moment is when I was looking at her and I'm like, wow. But at the back of my mind, I'm like, no. You said you need to relax and, build yourself. But then that's when I started feeling something different. But then I did not even try to, go beyond the place of just, this is a skit.
Yeah.
We are good friends. We are churchmates.
Yes.
So I maintained a good relationship with her. I started also realizing that she's actually an interesting person. I would be in church, I would miss a day, and I would notice that I've missed church, but then I've also missed a friend, and being a season that I was also not in a relationship, because I had just, I had confirmed that I was not in a relationship before. So I felt like, it could be those moments where, you wanted someone and then there was for someone else, and then, it's life. So you just take a moment and, try and see things in a different way. And appreciating also who you are. I think sometimes we rarely do that. So I was appreciating myself, but also building me. So that moment pulled something that was beyond friendship. Though I suppressed it. And we continued being friends. I think we were so much together, mostly during any church activities. So we used to be together a lot. Yeah. The season that I had taken off to really work on myself, some things that also are happening, I think I was seeing the need of making that next step, where I see relationship differently, and I've just felt like I don't want to waste any other person's life and time. And so I was so intentional to try and just get someone who we can have some, something good that doesn't just look like a good relationship, but something bigger than that. And looking at my life and, the people who have been my past friends or close friends in that kind of relationship, and I was like, then this should be the last. This is the person that I want to settle with. And so having the longer times of just friendship developed in a way that I had never had such close and an understanding relationship with someone to actually build up to something that I would say, you know what, I don't think I want a relationship. I want someone that we can look into marriage. And if you're not in that state, then I can give you some time to work on yourself. In fact, I think I remember those are the words that I told her, you know what, I think I have finished trying things around as a man, and I don't know how that level looks like beyond the relationship where we're going to marry, but I'm like, you know what, I'm ready. I think I'm ready for it. And I was just saying that, not knowing, the nitty-gritties of, the after marriage and relationship. So I think that's where I was like, you know what, let me do this. So as much as she was saying no, I think I could feel the need of, me also trying to fight for this relationship. But then I wasn't forcing it, because I also was cautious, because we are in the way we got to know one another was church. I didn't want to make her feel like, I don't want to connect with God or come to church because of this. So I was very cautious with that, and I respected her opinion, but I still was there for her. Actually, all I did was being there for her and continue friendship. Yeah.
Actually, it took a while, and then I realized later on that the relationship I was in, we were not connecting as we had done before. And it wasn't something that had started at that time, it had started prior. And so we just felt like it was necessary for us to end it. And so I remember having a conversation with him, and I told him, hey, I need you to tell me, I need you to assure me that you will marry me. Because I'm not playing games. You said you want a wife, and I'm also here. I don't want jokes. Like, let's be either do this or we don't. And so he told me at that moment, yes, I was serious about it from the beginning, and I'm serious about it now. And I was like, okay, fine. So we later had a conversation with my ex at the time, and it was really cordial. We ended the relationship. We both knew that it wasn't working. And so I just turned to him. After that, I cried, and then after I finished crying, I went and told him, okay, I'm done. I need to know, are we doing this or not? And he said, we are. And he said, are you ready to meet my mom?
Yeah.
It was
that.
That
Actually
it
was
was
the next.
just
Yeah.
that happened like in one evening. I was just like, oh, it is serious, it is real. And he was like, are you ready to meet my mom? And that was it. That's how I ended up accepting. But the good thing is, I really did care for him in a way. Like, we really had connected in such a special way. I had not met somebody who I could pray with him the way I pray with him. We were connecting on so many levels. You see the way they normally say man is a three-dimensional being. You know, the spirit, the body, and the soul. Like, we were connecting on all three levels, which for me was very interesting and very captivating. Yeah. So by the time I was saying, let's do this, it's something I felt like, this is exactly what I want. This is exactly what I need. This looks like something I really want.
The reason I needed to introduce her, something happened in my previous relationship. And I feel like that's where the making also probably started, because the place of my relationship with God built a lot from that place of that other relationship. And because we had really good friendship with the person. And when now I was coming to now meeting someone, and I'm like, okay, then we are now doing this. Some of the things that I felt like would be very special and very important steps towards the next stage was to make it clear that, listen, the way I told you, we are not playing around with this. I'm ready to introduce you. So it wasn't even something I would think twice about. It was just, for me, it was a key thing, because again, a mother also, we normally say that a mother understands. Yes. So they connect. So the first introduction would probably make them know, okay, yeah, as much as they might not have so much to say about it, but they can probably give you a hint. Okay, I think this is a good, a good approach and stuff like that. And then for me, it was so special because I had never introduced a woman to my wife, my mom, sorry. I never introduced a relationship in that setting to my mom. So I felt it was special, and I felt that would also make her see the seriousness of where we're headed.
Getting introduced to his mom is such a funny story, because we went with a friend of mine. And so we got home, and the mom had cooked. The mom cooks amazing food. So she had cooked, and then I think it was after we had eaten. I have to say what happened when we were eating. So the mom had cooked amazing. It was ugali and some kienyeji vegetables and nyama. And then the nyama had pili pili. Not hot. Just little pili pili. Hot pili pili. So me and I was so hungry that day. So I just got there and I was like, ooh, nice food, And I served, and then I ate the first bite. And I started tearing up. And I could not sing a tema, like I couldn't throw out the food. And then the mom was asking, Uko sawa? I'm fine, I'm okay. And I remember Tosh kept asking me,
okay?
Babe, are you okay? And I'm like, the pili pili is killing me. And he was like, see, you can say it. And I'm like, in my head I was thinking, first impressions, like you cannot tell her you don't like her food. Of course now we talk about it and we laugh.
Yeah.
But I've come also to appreciate pili pili. Thank you. 7 years later. And so it was interesting because the mom was very, very welcoming. The mom was very, very warm. She was really, really nice. The dad was really, really nice. And, after we ate is when actually Tosh told them,
Yeah.
this is Vivian, this is the person I want to settle with, this is the person I'm looking forward to, starting life with. And they gave us amazing advice. They talked to us, they told us how long they've been married and, what has helped their marriage stand and, just giving us advice. And they blessed us. And I think that for me settled something in my heart. It really did. It really did. Yeah.
Of the hot invitation, the hot introduction. It was hot. But then I had called my mom earlier on and just, because I felt like it would be important for her to know having a relationship that just is not a relationship, it's leading somewhere. For me, that was preparing her because I had already seen or experienced a preparation stage. And so telling her was so that if tomorrow I tell her, okay, so we're in this next step, or we are planning on this date to go, and just do an introduction to her parents also. So that for me was a moment to sort of prepare them. So I called her and told her, there's this that I want to do. I want to bring you someone that is a friend, and I'm seeing something for her. I'm seeing something moving beyond just the relationship. And that's when she was like, okay, bring her. So after that, I think then what happened when she said, she's happy about it and it's a yes, and they blessed us and they say it's okay. We don't think there's anything wrong with it, and it's good that you guys have come to us to just tell us this is what you're looking forward to. So we had not planned anything around proposals yet by that time, but yes, things moved pretty fast. I remember now I was the friend, because she had a friend whom they came together at home, and you actually living with she was living with a friend. So most of the time we would be together, myself, her, and the friend. Actually, almost all the time that I would be visiting them. So I started after the introduction. Then we did the introduction on your end as well.
Oh yeah.
Yes, before now going to the planning for the proposal. Yes, it was actually the other way around.
It was the other way. I think everything about this whole thing was very unconventional.
It was very
for us. Like everything was completely unconventional. Everything went the way it was not supposed to be. Yeah.
Yeah. So I planned with my friends who actually they were the ones who are our parents in marriage, and I approached them. I told them this is now the next move. I've introduced her home, and I feel like it would be important for their parents to know that there's a guy, and he's a friend, but they're looking forward to going beyond. And they were like, okay, we can give you something. We can give you small advice. You don't just want to go in empty-handed, as much as it's just an introduction. So let's call them, set a date. We set a date, and then we planned to the mom was in Narok by then. Yeah. So we planned the trip, went to a few shopping, and then arrived. And apparently the mom had called friends and church friends, and I was like, okay. It almost started feeling a bit different, because I was like, I thought this was just the same way I invited her home, and I'm like, whoa, the other people, I'm like, whoa, because also her mother she's really a Christian and a believer, and she feels like putting everything in the hands of God is a key factor. Yeah. So we came in, there was some kidogo prayer, we prayed, and then of course now I had to say, my name is so-and-so, I'm with my friends, and we are just about to share with you why we are here. We have just come to introduce ourselves. These are my friends, and they've been with me. They are church friends also. But then my relationship with your daughter seems to be going in a different direction, just beyond the relationship. So we just wanted you to know, so that as we start any plans or anything will not shock you guys. And again, they blessed us.
Yeah.
They prayed over us, and then the mom was very happy.
Yeah.
Mom was very happy because we had already, I think I had a first impression with her when the mom was unwell, and I had visited and went, prayed. Then at least she knew who I was.
Yeah. Actually, at that time, we hadn't started planning anything. All we knew is we are in love and we want to get married and we need to tell our parents. So after we told his mom and my mom, and all of them were in agreement, and everybody knew there's a relationship here that could lead to marriage. So that's when we started sitting down and saying, okay, probably we should now think about now planning the wedding. So it's interesting you're asking about the proposal, because it was during that time that the proposal happened. Of course, in my head, I wasn't thinking a proposal is necessary, because we've already decided to get married. Like it wasn't it wasn't he sat down and thought about it and was like, I want to marry this one, so that he plans a whole proposal and comes. It was a decision, like, you're gonna marry me? Yes, you're real, you're serious. Okay. So we know we are going into this as we are planning to get married. So then he can talk about the proposal.
Wow. where this I don't even know where to start with this. So with the friend that she used to live with, and we are now past, we've told our parents, and we're like, okay, things need to move. And I remember we really had, actually things moved very fast. I feel like we really prayed a lot for this, and I think even now our pastors, knowing, they also kept praying for us, and it's like things just moved very fast from that point. So this point, we're now looking for venues for our wedding. And it was just like, can we just take a trip and, just begin to look into places where would be possible places for our venue? But that's just how we used to release a prompt, and we're like, okay, let's do this. Oh, let's go see how much this is. Let's go see wedding rings. And at that point, we had already spotted the shop where we would get the wedding rings.
Yes.
And so we had even, so it felt like things had worked so well. So by the time we're now going for a trip to check different places, so on this day we went to Naivasha.
Yeah.
And we're like, let's just find a nice place that can build really good memories. And that day I remember dressing up, and I was like, okay, let me just carry this ring just in case. Of course, it's already special. Our parents know what's happening, but then let me just carry the ring so that we make it special. So for me, I just needed a memory for her also to really, experience what other ladies would experience before, marriage. And so we go to a hotel, one of the hotels, and it was a nice environment. I was like, wow, this is now the perfect place. Of course, my idea wasn't to get 120 people around who are focusing on what's happening, or 10 people with cameras. So then at that point is when I told the friend, because I knew they were very close with the friend. Then I was like, if I tell her now, if I would have told her earlier, she would have spoiled or ruined the proposal. So I was like, because they are close, so I was like, at that point is when I told her, listen, this is what I'm about to do. I want to propose to her. And she started, and I was like, no, this is why I didn't tell you earlier. So I felt like she was almost exposing the situation. So I told her, just relax. Please don't even. I know how I'm going to do it. All I'll need is at this point, you just get the camera and capture the moment. Then we leave the car. I remove my coat, put it on the seat, got to the hotel. The first places we are taken to, after the beautiful place in from the gate. I'm like, so when we go back, this is where I'm gonna do it. Then we go in, and then they start showing us the rooms, and the rooms were beautiful. And I saw a very nice staircase, and I was like, now this would be the point. So what I'm going to do, the moment she goes in, so by the time she comes back, I'll alert Georgiana to be at the back, so that she finds me down the stairs and with the ring. And that's where, after the first room, I'm like, okay, so now the second room. So she's like, I'm going to show you like the lady was like, I'm going to show you 3 or 4 rooms. So the second room, I'm like, now this is it. Because that now was even more beautiful. So the lady goes in, and then I step aside. And then I'm looking for the ring. Then I realize I left the coat with the rings in the car. So my friend is like, so now she's coming out, Vivian is coming out, and my friend is like, so she's holding the camera. I'm like, I left the rings. That's how that was ruined.
So I was just taking a photo.
So she didn't get what was happening, of course. And then now I was like, now how I'm going to do this? It will just be me. I'll do the master plan and do these things. Let's get this thing going. Just do it once. So there's a day now I'm having a call with a friend of mine, and he's like, hey, hi Antoniaje, we have a client. Come, let's meet and see this client. But then the time was a bit off. So he calls me in one of the hotels in Westlands. And he's like, this is where we're going to meet the client. And I was like, then this thing has to happen today. Then I'm like, I called her. I asked her, are you busy? Are you busy? I want to see a client and I would want you to come also. And she's like, oh, sure, yes, no problem. And I was like, just dress nicely. Actually, that's just what I say. Just dress nicely because it's a nice hotel. So that I just don't give her any impression. I was like, okay. So I meet her, we go to the hotel. Then now when we were waiting for the client, of course, we had to now, move a separate seat. So I leave her, it's like 2 tables apart. Then I go have the meeting with the client. And good thing the client actually paid us there and then cash. So the down payment was in cash. And my friend was like, Anto, I know, because he's a close friend, I know what you're about to do. In terms of actually wedding preparation, he actually didn't know about the proposal. And he's like, now that you guys have a relationship, and because I had shared with him, I know what you guys are planning, you guys need more. So he actually gave me the money and he's like, I'll only take 2,000 out of around like some good amounts. And he's like, this is enough for me. I'm just get a cab after. So then after the meeting, the client goes and I'm like, listen, I need to do something. So just hold the camera. And don't act surprised. So he takes the phone and he's like, what's up? Then I told him, you know what, I'm proposing now. So we leave the table, I get the rings, and as we walk, of course, he takes a position and Vivian has no idea. And then she sees the guy and he's like, what's happening? Then I go on my knees, and when she turns, I'm there. And that's how it happened. So a few people in the hotel were like, oh, wow. They started taking photos. And I'm like, oh, that's even good because it wasn't planned. Yeah. And that's a good experience for someone who, needed to see how this goes.
Yeah. Because we are very big dreamers. So we kept on dreaming. Every time we were around, we kept on dreaming. We should do this, we should do that. Like we would sit down, plan, they will wear this, they will do this, they will do this. Oh, let's check this out. So eventually we did check out a number of venues, but we ended up settling with Samdav. And this was recommended by a friend of mine who had done her wedding there. And we loved the place because it was a one-stop shop. I think getting the place as a one-stop shop saved us a lot. It really saved us, yes. Because they were the ones doing the catering, they were the ones doing the decor, of course they do the setup, they're the ones who were doing the food, they did everything, the cake, everything, they were doing everything. The only thing that they were not doing, because there were cars, because they even had the option of giving us cars, giving us an MC, giving us video, but those are the ones now we chose to pick on our own, but it's a one-stop shop. So it was really convenient for us, and it made work so much easier, because then I don't have to think about, oh my God, follow the cake lady, oh my God, follow the food person, oh my God, follow the what. It just didn't add up. And then we found a photographer,
Yes,
who was
a friend of mine,
friend of his,
a very close friend.
and he accepted to do the photography and videography for us. So the dressing, it's interesting because we really wanted a multicolored kind of dress up for the bridesmaids and the men, because the theme color in itself was white and royal blue, but we really wanted a plain white wedding. Honestly, we wanted a plain white wedding, but then we did a white and royal blue. But then the ladies were supposed to do fuchsia, blue, and yellow, because we wanted three people on the lineup. And so the men were supposed to wear black trousers and suspenders,
different colors.
Yes, and the suspenders were supposed to match
the ladies.
So a blue suspender, a yellow suspender, and a fuchsia suspender. But then we got the suspenders, and then when we were going to get the dresses, we could not get the dresses that were supposed to match the suspenders. And then it just threw us off guard, because we were approaching the wedding. I think it was like three weeks to the wedding or so. And so we just decided, you know what, ni harusi, itakuja itaenda, get a dress. And so we went window shopping with some friends of mine, and we got some dresses from a shop in a business center up town. And the dresses zilikuwa zina match, like they were matching. And I was like, this is amazing, because even those dresses, they could use them after. So they were nice white scattered, blue scattered dresses, ukujikwa net, and then they had white strips ukuchini. It was nice and blue and beautiful. So those were the dresses they wore. My best maid had a really nice gown, very long and elegant. She had a really nice gown. And then the men did the Chinese. Yeah,
the Chinese collar shirts.
Yes.
That would work very well with the suspenders. So it really, it was really, really good. It was really, as much as we didn't get, they did bow ties and suspenders. As much as we didn't get the same for the ladies, I think the blue matched very well with the guys also.
Yes, it really blended really well. And he was in a black trouser and
a blue tuxedo.
Yes, and a blue tux. Yes. My gown, interestingly, when I wanted to get a gown, my pastor actually was like, you know what, I'll give you the gown. And that's how I ended up having a gown. Yeah. I
think most of the things were really released. Like even myself, my pastor gave me shoes. He said, I'll cater for shoes, I'll cater. So our wedding was also very well supported.
Oh, yeah.
Very well supported. Yeah. We had a good support system. And then beyond the bride's team and the grooms, there was another tier of people a core team that really helped us to move things faster and easier. During the process.
It made it so much easier for us, because honestly, our wedding was planned through blessings. Like, when you think about it, was through blessings. Because you would tell someone, I'm getting married, and someone would say, you know what, I'll cater for the music. I'll cater for the cake. I'll cater for this. I'll cater for this. And I just, man, I had my friends, they are amazing. Yeah, our friends are amazing. Yeah.
The most interesting thing was, I know they normally say the wedding is for the wife, but I think giving ourselves that and also giving our parents that joy, because I think the joy in their faces, both sides of the family, and two different people now coming to one and merging in this way, that for me was the highlight. And seeing both families really celebrating us, I think that was the highlight. Really, for me.
I think for me the highlight was different. It hit me that I'm actually getting married, and at that time I had just turned 30, so I was like, man, this thing is happening. And so when we were saying the vows, the moment I was about to say I do, my heart was pounding, because I was like, this is it, this is it, this is it. And then the moment I said I do, I felt some peace in my heart, and I was like, this is it. Like, I have shifted, I have moved, like, it's happening. Honestly, the highlight for me was saying I do. That for me was the highlight.
Every person has certain expectations, and growing up with parents like mine, for instance, there are some automatic expectations that even today, and I think some of these things we still experience, even today, there are things that you would imagine that, she knows she will definitely do it as good as how my mother did it. And I think that's where issues come up, where you grew up with the mother, and it's the best version of marriage you would see is your parents. And so you want the same things, and even better probably, to be done. So the best, or the rankings position would be, I would see how my mom would, take care of my dad, how my mom would be cleaning things and changing things, and like the expectations were super higher than that. I'm not saying that she couldn't do that. She was doing that. But yes, for me, those were the things I was like, this is how it happens. But I think the problem sometimes is me thinking that way and not expecting or not giving her room to also have certain expectations. And now when these expectations meet is when now you begin to now see or build something of yourselves, or sort of a culture that works for you. And that's when I begin to realize, by the way, Vivian is not my mom. So the things that I would probably expect, I would expect from her is a wife. So what are things around a wife and a woman that I would expect, and not just the things that I was seeing my mom doing? So I think for me, the expectations were more of seeing that kind of, a relationship, and like moments when, I would just see things from that status of what I used to see at home. But it's not the same.
I think for me, the expectations that I had, I think mostly came from pressure from society. I think there's a way that people say, when bibi mtu behave a particular way, when bibi mtu fanya vitu hivi, when bibi mtu do this. And for me, I just felt like it would be hard for me to fit in that bubble, because part of me felt like I needed to give up who I am so that then I can be a wife, right? I love being goofy, I love being crazy, and so it felt like I needed to tone down all that so that then I become, a nice, respectable wife. There's a particular way I'm expected to dress, there's a particular way I'm expected to behave. I think I realized it is just crazy, because I have created a wonderful friendship with this man, and it doesn't make sense that now I'm in marriage, I need to change who I am or who he fell in love with, just so that I can fit what society says a wife is supposed to be. And so I will still wear my jeans and sneakers and, and be crazy and be okay, and I'll still be a wife, right? I'll still wake up one day and be like, hey, I don't think we should do breakfast like breakfast. Let's do something else. And it's fine. Like, it is okay. Who said we must have tea and this in the morning and then lunch? It's just, once I figured out that we needed to do life as us, as the two of us, like we are the ones in this marriage, we are the ones who are experiencing it. Once I realized that, I think it settled a lot of things in me. And I stopped worrying about, oh my God, I don't look like a wife. Oh my God, I don't look like a wife. Yeah. For me, it's that pressure for society, for you. You need to behave wife-like.
For me, the notion was shifted growing up the way we were raised. And so I think those things that definitely men would, you would grow up knowing that, a woman's place is this, they should do this. Now, growing up in a culture where it was okay to see my elder brother in the kitchen, I think it changed a number of things. And so my expectation, as much as I would expect certain things to be in a particular way, I was not surprised to find myself in the kitchen preparing something for her. I wasn't surprised spending more time with her in the kitchen when she's preparing something. So it really helped me to not really lower expectations, but to be okay with what we are creating. That was then and that was them. So how are we doing this? So we sort of were very focused on building a culture that is ours.
Yeah. So it has been 7.5 years.
Wow.
With 2 kids later. And for us, it's interesting because we got our first child immediately after marriage because I had a medical condition and we had concerns that I may not be able to conceive. And so we really didn't want to waste time. We're just like, can we actually just try and have and try get kids? And so we got pregnant 3 months into the marriage. Yeah. And so it wasn't fun because the pregnancy was dramatic and all that. So we really didn't get to have a time of love and nini. It just felt like the moment I got pregnant, it was just, oh my God, we're in hospital all the time. Yeah. We are sick all the time. This is happening, accidents here and there. And we just were up and down with health issues. So by the time the baby came, that is when we were like, oh my God, we have a baby. And then now we are experiencing parenting in a different way. Then I experienced another health challenge that also took like another year or something. And so all the time I was also sick. I was constantly in hospital. So we really didn't, our first few years of marriage were riddled with health issues. And so we really didn't manage to enjoy our marriage the way we wanted to. And so it was after I had a surgery, and then after that things settled. And I feel like that is when our marriage started. And it was so amazing because it's like we were dating for the first time. Yes, we had a baby, but then we were very intentional about creating time for the child and creating time for ourselves. Because again, you don't want to neglect your child, and also you don't want to neglect your marriage. So we've come up with a culture in our house that at 8 p.m. the kids go to bed. I don't know if you're sleepy or you're not. It's 8 p.m. It's bedtime. Let's come together. Let's eat. Let's pray. Twende tuwapeleke walale. And then after that is our time. We get to do what we want to do. And it's been amazing because we have such deep conversations during those moments. That we love watching movies, we love playing games, we love dancing, we love being goofy. So this is when we get to do all those things. And then we love opportunities where we get to travel alone. Most of the time when we are traveling, we travel with the kids. But when we get an opportunity to just travel the two of us, it's the best because we get to spend so much time together. We dream about a lot. We have, what are they called, hypothetical conversations. What if this would happen? What if this would happen? What if this would, and it brings us closer. We get to know, I get to continue to know his thinking process. I always tell myself, you never get to know someone 100%. You never really get to do that because once you experience a challenge, there's a character that is going to come out, and you've never experienced that person before. And so it's always amazing because we look forward to knowing each other more. And even if there's no challenge, let's create a hypothetical situation. Hey, babe, what happens? What do you feel would happen if our son is at this age and experiences this? How do you think we can handle that? What happens when this and this happens? And we've tried also the best we can to try and push the notion of dating in marriage away from I have to go out, because we realize that you may not always have the money to go out all the time. So what can you do to bring the dating into your home? What can you do to bring it closer? So we even love taking walks. Just get out of the house and just have a wonderful walk and have an amazing time.
So advice for me, there's something she mentioned about dating also. We have moved to that direction of more feeling things than just expecting or doing things that the world expect for dating. So moving it to the feeling, like our moment in the balcony would be very valuable. And so parting short or what would be key for an advice to someone is marriage is two completely different people coming to one. And when we say two coming to one, it means there is a lot of you that would come out in the process that has to be molded to be one with the partner. Because if I only focus on building me or releasing my wild out and I don't give her room to bring out and see it, and so we have to release everything, release the weight that we have for one another so that we can let the world see it and let us deal with it, walk in it, because that's who we are. The problem would be me building myself and not giving her an opportunity, or when her wild comes out, I don't know, and then That's it. Like for me, it's bringing everything out and dealing with it in that journey.
Marriage works. Honestly, marriage works. And the institution of marriage is so beautiful. But for as long as an institution is made up of people, people are the ones who will bring the issues in the marriage. So marriage in itself is beautiful, but people come in broken. We all have broken things. We all are broken. We're bringing in baggage. We're bringing in many things. And so what I would say is if we work on the people in the marriage, then marriage becomes successful. Yeah. If I work on me and he works on him and we work on each other together, then it makes the marriage beautiful. But for as long as we continue seeing ourselves as two different entities, yep, then that's where we lose it. And then we will say marriage is a scam. It's not. It's been 7.5 years of love.
7.5 good years.
Good years. It's been beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.